We are back again with another episode and a fascinating conversations with fascinating guests.
So for me, I think 30 years or so now down the line, the time to review the Constitution has come.
Another school of thought says, Mr. Manyi, we've got one of the best constitution in the world.
You know, that statement must be interrogated. Firstly, it's incorrect. It's factually incorrect.
Okay.
Let's start there. I mean, the fact that we've got a so-called best constitution in the world, but no one else is following it, should tell you.
Yes.
Because world leaders, they follow best practice. And before you go, and I know you wanted to ask this question, let me answer it very briefly. Answer very briefly, that is our best, I think.
Yes.
Because people is being blown out of
You were
proportion.
there, you were singing happy birthday.
No. Let's put context quickly.
Yeah.
This happened in 2018.
2018, yes.
2018,
Yes.
when I was still with the Afro World View
Yes,
NN7.
yeah.
And then it was a launch of a 21st century media company.
Not Tabo Best.
Not Tabo Best.
Okay.
But it was organized by Tabo Best.
We don't,
You don't even know the guy.
by the 21st media century people.
Okay.
This is what I went to. And I knew
So
the
he
chairman.
hoodwinked you from jail.
It was hoodwinked, yeah. But also it's important to know that when that happened, the guy was called Tom Mutsipe and he was called Patrice's son. Now I know Patrice. So I said,
In honor of
Patrice's son, and all of that. So guts are down and all of that. And then I wake up in
Relaxed,
2023, I'm told that, hey, this was a scam.
Welcome to the Sheds. We are shedding light on issues affecting you and everybody else in this country. We are back again with another episode and a fascinating conversations with fascinating guests. We are shedding light on the state of the country. We are talking about where we are as a country. We're talking about issues of governance. We're talking about coalitions. We've got municipalities that have a mayor today and no mayor tomorrow. Are we going to have that next day? We have a premier today, no premier tomorrow, a president today, and no president tomorrow. And to help us do that, is one and only colorful Mzwanele Jimmy Manyi.
Khalil.
Mr. Manyi, welcome back.
Hi, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
You spend your time not wanting this name, and I just want you to educate our viewers that when you have a name you do not like, you can remove it. Was it a special treatment on you that Home Affairs agreed to this, or this is an official procedure that is utilized at Home Affairs?
No, it's an official procedure. I can even tell you it's about 140
Oh, so it's
to
it's
do
not
this.
that
There's a process. No, it's not expensive. Yeah, and if you are younger, your records are still easy to find. It can actually even be done within a month. In my case, because they had to find records and this, it took a whole year. Yeah, but it's doable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for me, I had to do it because I wanted to be properly African. I wanted to decolonize. I didn't want any slave name around
Attached.
me.
Like Prince Lekocho.
Yeah, but I must thank the young people of 2015 when they did the Roads Must Fall.
Yeah.
They pushed me over the cliff. Then they are the ones that
Who
got me
encouraged you, yes.
to say, hey man, let me reflect on this and all of that. And
Mr. Manyi, when we, just last month, we're in May now, so last month we're celebrating 29 years in a democratic dispensation. When we set out on issues of freedom, when we fought for one man, one vote, for black people to ultimately be able to cast their own votes, do you think where we are as a country is what the freedom fighters envisaged us we would be? Yes. Are we in the right direction? And if we are not, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, hey, I'm going to depress you.
Okay.
I'm going to depress you. Firstly, I think it's incorrect to even say Freedom Day.
Yes.
I think it's even incorrect to say we've got political freedom. Now we need economic freedom. What we have, 27th of April, in my view, represents voting day.
Okay.
That's all. Voting day. Do we have political rights? We don't. We have maybe out of 10, 2. So for me, it's a very poor performance. But I think, what we sometimes miss is that firstly, let's understand that South Africa is a unitary state. let's understand that we agreed to a constitutional democracy. Let's agree that as long as the constitution does not do it, nothing else will work.
Will do it.
So for me, I think 30 years or so now down the line, the time to review the constitution has come. It's got to be. We've got to do this. We have a constitution, was it 2015 or so? I was very traumatized to go to, there was a function at the Constitutional Hill where they were celebrating, I don't know how many years of the constitution.
Since 1996.
Yeah, so when we got there, what traumatized me are the people that were overseeing this event. Sorry, Mkhweng was still Chief Justice.
Okay.
So we got there, then there are all these people from London, Lord so-and-so,
Okay.
Lord so-and-so. They had all these wigs, these wigs and so on. I just really felt colonized by that setting. Now, during break, I asked DCJ Mzwanele to DCJ, tell me, when you guys were knocking to shape this constitution, did you consult any of the African countries? Because when you were listing countries that you consulted, you didn't count any country in Africa. Counted Germany, you counted Canada, you counted India, and so
no
on.
African
UK.
country
No African
mentioned.
country
Was consulted
consulted
in the drafting of the
in
constitution.
the drafting of the South African constitution. I mean, Ghana got their independence long before us.
Yeah, 1950.
Yeah, but not even Ghana cut it.
Not even Zimbabwe
Yeah.
from 1980.
And then, I have a lot of time for Chief Justice Mukha. I love him. I love the man. I love a lot of the things that he does. But then there he says, at the back of my office, they were celebrating also the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta is a British document that has formed the basis of this constitution. So if you want to say South Africa is colonized, for me, I say the evidence is the constitution. Our constitution is not based on Ubuntu. It's based on a British thing called Magna Carta and all of that. So that's what it is. So even if you look at the entire law of the country, is based on all these European things. It's a Roman, Dutch,
Law.
stroke English law. The African law in the constitution or customary law in the constitution is subject. They say, they put it very elegantly. They don't say subject to Roman law. They say subject to the constitution. But when you say subject to the constitution, it's by default
Yes.
generalizing it to the Roman Dutch law. This is what we have in this country. Now, you then look at, coming to your Freedom Day thing, you then look at, we say, okay, fine, now let's look at how the rest of it happens in this constitution. One of the clauses, which I think it should be called a colonial clause in the constitution, section 25, subsection 7. It's my most problematic clause in that constitution. That clause. That clause says, if you were dispossessed of your land because of these past injustices and all of that, you have a right to redress and all of that for your tenure, etc., all of those things. But it's got a cutoff date. The cutoff date is 19 June 1913.
Okay.
Now, in other words,
Yes.
if your land was taken in the 1800s, in the 70s, there's no discussion. So basically, the Constitution is saying, when Jan van Riebeeck set foot here 6 April 1652, up until 19 June 1913, all the land that these colonialists have taken is not
Awunoba
Yeah. Now, this whole thing about everybody talking about expropriation without compensation and all of this, if you don't deal with that clause, it means you're only dealing with a 7% of the land. That's what we're dealing with. In all this discussion, it's a discussion to slice and dice the 7%. So for me, if you want to see how unserious the country is about the land question, it's the issue of not talking to that colonial clause in the Constitution. So for me, I think, and that's what determines the rest of the economy. As it is. So for me, I think if we are saying what is it that we need to do to fix this country, the very first thing that we must do is the Constitution. I can even talk to other clauses as well, if you have time. That
Yeah.
need to
Before
be
you
dealt
get
with.
to other clauses, Mr. Manyi, I want to ask this direct question, Hlekazi, that another school of thought says, Mr. Manyi, we've got one of the best constitution in the world.
Yes.
And they say the problem is with the implementation. What do you have to say about that? They say it's the best.
Yeah.
It's only us who are not implementing it.
The
And
constitution properly.
who's charged to make sure that it's implemented properly?
You know, that statement must be interrogated. Firstly, it's it's factually incorrect. Let's start there. I mean, the fact that we've got a so-called best constitution in the world, but no one else is following it, should tell you.
Yes.
Because world leaders, they follow best practice.
Yes.
Why is this best practice not followed?
Okay.
You know? So, I mean...
So no one else is copying it?
No one else is
Yeah.
copying it, but it's the best. I mean, it's really nonsensical. You look, I mean, let's start from the beginning. You look at even who can be president of this country. This is about probably the only country in the world where you can have a foreigner turned South African that can be president.
A president,
In
yes.
yeah.
Gee.
You know, if you go to the UK, not UK, if you to the US as an example, one of the conditions for you to be a president in the UK, in the US, is that you must be a born person of the US.
Not naturalized.
Not
citizen.
naturalized, not all of these fancy things and all of that. And this is not a xenophobic statement.
Yes,
We allow everybody to be a South African citizen, do everything else,
Yes.
vote, do that. But standing for public office should not be open to all and sundry. It should be a preserve of native South
Should be
Africans.
sacred. Yes.
Yeah, it's a sacred thing. I mean, I sit here now, I look at Parliament, I see this Taiwanese woman there that the ANC have put there. How is that possible that person can represent me?
So in
I just
essence-
don't-
in
I just
essence, you
don't
say
get it.
We can wake up one day and have a Chinese
President.
or Japanese or,
Yeah.
or yes,
Mexican,
Mexican
anybody.
president.
Yeah, we can have that.
Wow.
Yeah, they come to South Africa 5 years or whatever is a period, they get naturalized. And from there, our constitution says every citizen has a right to vote and to stand for office and be elected. This is what the constitution says, section 19 of the constitution. It says that on the political rights. So I think as we interrogate our freedom, I think we must step back and say, maybe this is the freedom of the world, it's not freedom of South
Of this
Africa.
country.
What is it that we're doing right politically in a country?
I think maybe the only right. There are many
Consolable
things.
news.
I mean, to be fair to South Africa, there are many things that are right. For instance, freedom of speech.
Okay.
You know, in the apartheid days, having said what I've said here, by the time I leave here, I'll
There'll be police outside.
Security force will be for you.
Yeah, so I think freedom of speech is there and all of this. Yeah, I think, but I think the problem also with a lot of what we call niceness is cheap, is plastic. It's a tea and biscuit stuff. It's not deep.
It's not real stuff.
Yeah, it's not deep, and this is the problem. You know, I spent a lot of time on this subject of employment equity.
Yes.
Now, I was saying to the BMF, you know, if you are kind with this subject, we thought we were doing transformation.
Yes.
And we thought if we have black managers included in the things, in the management, then they will push a particular agenda. It is unfortunate that those that were included actually didn't just get included, they got assimilated. So they are the ones that got transformed. And all
So they
of
become
that.
gatekeepers in essence.
They become gatekeepers. They become worse, as it were. So I'm happy that the BMF is really looking at to what should transformation really mean.
Yes.
Because this inclusion is actually not inclusion, it's assimilation. One of if you want anybody to decline a proposal in any institution, it's a black guy that is sitting on the other side. Yeah, it's them. You know, I used to say when I was the president of the BMF that when I go fundraising, I really don't want to see a darkie. I really don't.
So darkies, they can close doors.
Darkies. When you get there, they first of all, speak English in through their nostrils.
Okay.
What's in it
change
for us?
accents, yeah.
This was in it for us.
So I'm not English.
Yeah, what's in it for us? You know, hey, blacks. Telling you, I want a course. Course. When I say I'm selling tables.
Yes.
Course says how many?
I mean,
Yeah, that's the only discussion we have.
Yeah.
With courses. How
doesn't
many?
speak English.
This
French
one.
English, yeah.
This one, African.
Yeah.
And I want to know Guti.
Bafuna utya.
What's a value not even that.
Yes.
He wants to show the others that we are not going to walk all over
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah, I want to show.
He wants to impress.
He wants to impress. Yeah, his white bosses that no, he's not going to take this nonsense from Manyi. Yeah, and it's the most. This is very honest. It's the most difficult discussion to fundraise with the black guy on the other side.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. And this is when some of us worked out that actually no, this inclusion is assimilation. Yeah, so you get there and you become worse actually.
They became brainwashed in a sense.
Yeah. So we need to rethink the whole thing.
Mr. Manyi, part of what democracy brought us as a democratic dispensation issue was that from 2016, we saw that if there's no outright winner, there could be a coalition, meaning different parties that got smaller percentages can
They
group
group
together,
together,
so that there's that 50 or 50 plus 1% in order to govern. And as you know, in cities like City of Johannesburg, for instance, you'd see a mayor not finishing a term, cutting short. And from 2021 up until one, in major municipalities across the country, it's been a mess. You have a mayor today, tomorrow is not longer a mayor. You have MMC today, tomorrow is no longer MMC. The worry is that next year, it's national general elections, so provincial and national elections, meaning we'll have ministers, we have premiers and all of that. We could have the same situation. Do you think we've got the best of our laws to govern coalitions, or we just need to rethink the whole thing and start fresh? Or even better, some people have said, if there's no outright winner, let there be a rerun of the election. What's your view?
Yeah, look, I think the saddest part is that the ANC had the opportunity to make sure that this discussion doesn't happen. I think the comrades forgot that the struggle in South Africa has always been the struggle of the people of South Africa. It was not the struggle of the ANC.
Yes.
It was a struggle to better the lives of the people of South Africa. Now the comrades have got this confused. And this whole thing has become the struggle about the existence of the organization. So this is the problem. So the focus is no longer on the people. The focus now is on how to strengthen the party and all of that. That is a problem. So for me, I think now that it's clear that the ANC is declining. I mean, they can deny all they like, but the graph is going down, and at quite an accelerated rate. So therefore, anybody that thinks that in 2024 they'll get 50% plus alone, those people are dreaming.
So there is
It's
no
not gonna
political
happen.
party in this
No.
country that is going to get
It's
an outright
impossible.
majority.
It's
Whether
impossible.
you're a blue or green party,
It doesn't
or red
matter
party, it's
who
not
you
gonna
are.
happen.
Also, you know, what is working, for instance, against the ANC is that the nostalgia about the struggle and all of that, young people of today who constitute the majority don't relate to that. There's no connection between them and that. So they don't owe anybody anything and all of that. And this is why, in fact, if you look now, although we've got the highest population is the young people, but the young people are not your most voters.
Yes,
As it were, because they just don't connect to politics for
Yes.
whatever reason. I'm sure it's a topic for another day. So the loyalty to the struggle in this is on a decline. So what we're having now, people are interested in what's in it for us as communities. That's all that there is to it now. So I think the future of South Africa is really in coalitions. So in fact, I think I tweeted something here that the ANC missed a big opportunity in their latest conference, because at least for now they're still the governing party. When they were thinking about how to create stability in the local municipalities, I think it's a good thing that they are even thinking about how to make that stable. Now they should have taken that to the next level and to say, even at national level, here's a framework to make sure that we don't have a new mayor every week, a new mayor every week. Now we might even have a new president every week. So how do we stabilize that situation? Now, again, because they are still thinking party, they're not thinking people. They said, no, we as the party, we will get more than 50%, so there's no reason to talk about it. So
just to jump in there, Mr. Manyi.
that's a problem.
Other people will say it's not necessary because you keep on bringing the ANC. The problem is not the ANC, it's the voters. What do you say to that? In fact, even the coalition, it's because of the voters. Taking in mind that a lot of people didn't pitch up.
About 14 million.
Yes,
in
which is a
2021.
lot of number.
Yeah, no, look, you must remember, it's not either or, it's both. The voters that should respond in a particular way to send a certain message, sometimes they don't. But the ANC is actively doing something about corrupting the voter. I mean, you look now, I'm going to give you a classical example. For the past 4 years or something, 5 years or even longer, Lily Mine has been neglected by the tripartite alliance. Three lives are still buried there. They wake up today, COSATU, they say they want to go there. And the people they are saying, only now. And why is that? And why is COSATU waking up only now? It's because next day is elections.
On the eve,
It's elections. That's all they're there for campaign. Now, this is how the tripartite alliance has cheapened politics. It's all about themselves. Now they are looking for, come and vote for me, vote for me. So now all of a sudden, on the eve of the elections, they wake up and think about it. And now the voters don't tell the difference. They say, niyafana nonke. So sonke in this political space, ANC. So I think you can do what you like. What really needs to happen in order to improve things in the country, we must improve the ethics at an individual level. If a person, at a personal level, we have not, there's no investment or there's nothing in pushing up the ethics levels, morality, and all of that, of you as a person, you can have all the laws, we're going nowhere. So we need to focus on that.
You are, I just want to touch on this, that you are saying the coalitions are inevitable. There is no party or even independent candidate that will emerge as an outright winner in 2024. Now, the laws governing coalitions in their current form, what needs to change in order to avoid a situation where we have a minister today who's not a minister tomorrow, a premier today who's not a premier tomorrow, a president today who's not a president tomorrow, as a result of the current situation as we've seen in municipalities? What needs to change?
No, I think I haven't applied my mind on this too much, but I think what needs to happen, there has to be some rules of engagement. That once a coalition government is signed off, there is no space to challenge, to maneuver for a particular period, unless someone has done something criminal. So you must do that, because now it's nothing criminal. We just wake up, caucus, from the caucus, that's my keep. You know.
Or you had a bad dream last night.
So I mean, if you look at it at a national parliament level, you've got a Section 89 process, which you must have done a gross violation of the Constitution. Those are the things that you should actually
at
dismantle.
A municipal level.
At a municipal level. We should find a Section 89 equivalent to say, in order to destabilize this, and there must be no vote of no confidence, because there, things are going to roll every week. So at least, I mean, you look at this guy, this mayor of Johannesburg, all he had to do was to fumble in an interview. The guy did not do any criminality. That was enough.
There was no bribes.
No bribe, nothing. Just because he said something that he could have put differently. He put it in a particular way. And a lot of people didn't like this. And that was enough. The guy is no longer a mayor. Now, if that's going to be the name of the game, we're not going anywhere.
We once had in this country floor crossing. You could easily move from one red party to the blue one or the pink one.
After you've been voted.
After you've been voted. And you move with your seat.
Yes.
And why can't we do a similar thing with coalition?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, that there's an opportunity now to stop all those things, so to create more stability. So it's an opportunity. You still have time. It's an opportunity to knock the rules of engagement, so it can still be done to make sure that once a coalition government is put into place, unless you've done something criminal, it must stay. Yeah, otherwise, honestly, we're not going to get anywhere.
We are, economic-wise, Mr. Manyi, unemployment is very high. Businesses don't get the funding they need in order to sustain this country. And if you have businesses that are flourishing, the economy could start to pick up, because whenever a business does well, it employs more people. And when people are employed, they go and spend money, so you have money circulating in the economy. Why is it so difficult to improve economically as a country?
Yeah, it's a very important question. And again, you know, for me, I just don't like to zoom in. I like to take a step back and
cool.
and do a helicopter view. So if you do a helicopter view, you will see that the biggest problem South Africa is facing is neo-colonialism. Because now we are sitting here as a puppet state. Everything that we do in this country is first and foremost in the best interest of the puppet masters. That is a problem. I mean, if you look, and you must bring me back so that I don't forget my thought here. If you look, for instance, in the economy of South Africa, a lot of people, let's say, some people would be worried about the Zimbabweans coming here, Mozambicans coming here. But if you honestly look at those people, except the thugs, if you honestly look, these people, if anything, that they take in this country, if anything, it's crumbs. That should really not make us to worry.
They shouldn't bother us.
Compare and contrast that with the truckloads of coal that go to Richards Bay every day. Compare and contrast that with the iron ore from Sishin to Richards Bay, all of these minerals. Then you see, our poor Zimbabweans and the Mozambicans that are here
are not the biggest culprits.
I know, it should not even be a focus. The focus should be how our minerals are being taken away and for almost for nothing. That's why we should. And the reason, and the reason why in that mess is because, you know, Verwoerd, 1961, I think he had knocked this thing to shape. 1961. Verwoerd decided that no, we're going to break out of the Commonwealth, and have, we're going to break out of the Commonwealth, and we're going to have a Republic of South Africa. Yeah. So we're going to have a Republic of South Africa. So he broke out of the Commonwealth. Now he was trying to, with all the what's and all, apartheid and all. We know this. I lived in apartheid, so I'm not here to apologize for apartheid, or I'm just saying, I've lived apartheid and all of that. But Verwoerd got South Africa out of the Commonwealth because they believed in self-determination. They wanted to build this country and be country-centric and stand as a country and all of that, including oppressing us and all of that. Put that aside. Now the comrades came in 1994. You would think that, okay, now that they already have South Africa now on their own clutches, now they must improve on what apartheid did. What the comrades did in 1994, they took us back to the Commonwealth.
So they regressed on the progress of Verwoerd.
They regressed, actually. So by being in the Commonwealth, then it meant that we have a new, we are legitimizing our puppet masters. So our economy is going overseas. So So the industrialization program that we had was now decelerated because now we're taking raw material, we're taking it overseas. Industrialization happens overseas. We get finished products that we buy again. The ring that we have gets made there. All of these fancy gadgets get made there. And yet we've got all the raw material here. So what we need in this country is massive. Firstly, we must get out of the Commonwealth so that we are truly sovereign. Anybody that says South Africa is a sovereign state is lying to you. We are not sovereign.
So we have no sovereignty.
Oh, there's no sovereignty here. We are a puppet state. This is what we are. We're just
Our masters are in Britain.
Our masters are in Britain and all of these things. You look at, I mean, you can look at, I say to people, look at the economic laws of this country. They are all captured. People say capture started with the Guptas. No.
It's been long happening.
It's long been happening. The constitution is captured. The economic laws are captured. Everything is captured. And all of that. And it's all designed to favor the puppet masters. So I don't want to come in.
Yeah.
So I'm saying we must industrialize as a country. Once we industrialize, massively change the education system and focus more on technical education and all of that. So once we
Not
do
media
that,
and PR.
yeah, not theology. And then once we've done that, we have our own robots. We manufacture. Imagine the amount of jobs we can create. Imagine the economy that we can have. Right now we're sitting.
Manufacturing plant in Soweto, the Orange Farm, Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, imagine now we're even a food importer. We're going backwards. We're even importing food with the vast of land that we have.
That's what I want to chip in, Mr. Manyi, to say it's all said and good to say South Africa must be self-reliant and Africa by extension. But the pessimist will say to you, if we want to claim our sovereignty, the pessimist will say, you don't even have to look for Mhlekas. They'll say, look at our neighbors in Zimbabwe. You start to claim land back, you start to want minerals and nationalize. And they'll tell you that because our traders, the biggest traders, I think it's Britain and Europe by extension. Measuring that, I want your opinion, measuring that against the risk of us saying we want to go out of the Commonwealth, they'll point you to the next door.
No, look, I think
what happens?
I think the problem again is corruption and cronyism in Zimbabwe. When they did that thing, instead of using the land profitably and optimally, they gave it to the cronies. You had to be a ZANU-PF, all those. You
have to be. Botswana got 100 hectares of land.
Yeah, all of that. I think what South Africa needs is optimal land use. This is what you need. If you ask me, my proposal for South Africa is this: that what you need to have, firstly, I can excuse, I can forgive everybody that has got their residential area. There's absolutely nothing else you can do with that. So it's okay. But things like industrial land, commercial land, agricultural land, that must theoretically belong to the people of South Africa. But the custodianship of that must be held by the state. The state must work out what I call a utilization index for each of these things. If we have a big farm area, there has to be certain metrics, certain indices that we use to say you're being a productive farmer. If you don't, we take that land. If you've got an industrial land, you must put industries there, manufacturing and all of. If you don't do that, we take that land. Same as commercial and all of that. Same, in fact, even with the utilization of water and all of that. All of these things must belong to the people of South Africa, but not to the state. Belong to the people of South Africa, custodianship must be with the state. So the state must be the administrator.
So to get this right, you're not calling for nationalization, you're calling for custodianship of the state on behalf of
just like, if you look at what happened with the minerals, MPRDA, when that act was put together. With the stroke of a pen, the minerals belonged to the people of South Africa, and the state took custodianship, and then whoever is mining those minerals must pay the people of South Africa levies. The levies are paid to the state will do social programs or what have you. The same formula. you say land, the custodianship is to the state. The state will then make
Administer,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, if I give you 7 Juke, if I give you 5 hectares of land, and you don't know the first thing about farming, what am I doing?
But Mr. Manyi, you know, I have a problem because with custodianship, and I know there are many other South Africans
Yes.
out there. When we have custody, you have control, we have decision making. You are the probably final arbiter over what happens in this issue. Now, with government having custodianship of the land that is purported to belonging to South Africans, and we know in government sit men and women who become corrupt along the way, and these will become decision makers over when Nkosana wants to use that land. They can disqualify Mhlekazi when he wants to make an application, say, when you are not fit to be a farmer because you have no experience or you can't do this thing. Won't the custodianship issue then bring in corrupt elements that will see some people losing the land or not even getting this land?
You see, that's a very good question. This is why, for instance, if we look at this lending thing,
We'll go to that, by the way.
Yeah. This is why you must have laws. And we, the people of South Africa, are the ones that are going to decide which laws. We are going to decide the regulations. This is why when laws are developed, there's public participation. We then have to find a regulatory mechanism to deal with that. So that when we say we are a custodianship, we're not giving you a blank check to do as you please. You must do it according to the rules
laws,
and
yes.
regulations. You see, for instance, to jump into this lending thing, as an example, we have Mzwanele saying, no, I designated. You can't just say I designated. You know, the Immigration Act, Section 9, capital A, says the minister may, in a prescribed manner. Now, this is the issue, prescribed manner.
So
what
the manner
does that
is
mean?
not prescribed.
The manner is prescribed. In a prescribed manner. Prescribed manner, that means that you don't wake up and just do it.
Yes.
What is this
Oh,
prescribed
there's a
manner?
process.
Yes.
There's a process. What is this prescribed manner? You go to the Border Management Authority Act, Section 30, subsection 3. There it's a prescription. It says 30 days before you make that designation,
yes.
put this thing on a gazette.
So when
This is
did
what
the
it
minister
does.
gazette this?
He didn't do this. He didn't do this. This is the problem. So that's what I'm saying. He's got custodianship of designating airports or ports of landing and all of that. But that custodianship, we're not depending on his mood. We're not depending on how he woke up this morning. There are rules and regulations. Now, the sooner South Africans understand the rules and regulations governing their lives, the better. Then you know that, no, but when we do this, when did we consult us as the people of South Africa? We own these properties.
Okay, we've finally come to the end of the show, Mr. Manyi. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you've got a lot to say,
Yeah.
and we keep saying all our guests have got a lot to say because there's a lot to say about this country. Any last word, any advice, any warning, anything they want to say out there?
No, I just think that we must first of all push for a constitutional review. South Africans must take themselves seriously and understand that the future of South Africa depends on them. And the current constitution is the biggest constraint. We must deal with some of the issues in the constitution. So at the next show, we can deal with them block by block.
Definitely.
But
definitely.
Up until we have fixed the foundation. I mean, all we're doing now is we're just changing the paint of the house.
Scraping the surface.
Yeah, today we painted blue, we painted yellow.
Asfalting a polyfill.
Yeah, and all of that. So what we should do, we should say, okay, this house, let's dim it. It was a temporal accommodation. Now I want to do something proper.
Okay.
Fix this thing from the foundation, and then we build a proper country. I think we've got opportunity to do that as a country.
Thank you, Mr. Manyi, for gracing us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Manyi.
Yeah,
Always a
welcome.
pleasure to have you.
Okay, no, that's great stuff. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much to the viewers. Keep watching. We've got more fascinating interviews
And
coming.
before you go, and I know you wanted to ask this question, let me answer it very briefly. Answer it
2
very
seconds.
briefly, that this Tower Bester thing,
Yes.
because people is being blown out of
You were
proportion.
there. You were singing happy birthday.
Let's put context quickly.
Yeah.
This happened in 2018.
2018, yes.
2018,
Yes.
when I was still with the Afro World View
Yes,
NN7.
yeah.
And then it was a launch of a 21st Century Media Company.
Not Tabo Pest.
Not Tabo Best.
Okay.
But it was organized by Tabo Pest.
We don't, you
You
know,
don't
by,
even
the,
know
by,
the guy.
by the 21st Media Century people.
Okay.
This is what I went to. And I knew
So
the
he
chairman.
hoodwinked you from jail.
Yeah, it was hoodwinked, yeah. But also it's important to know
Yeah.
that when that happened,
Yes.
the guy was called Tom Mutsipe and he was called Patrice's son. Now I know Patrice. So I said, well,
In honor of
Patrice's
Patrice.
son, and all of that. So guards are down and all of that. And then I wake up in
relaxed, yeah.
2023, I'm told that day this was a scam.
Yeah.
And you sang Happy Birthday.
No, I didn't.
You didn't say Happy Birthday, Tabo. Okay.
The staff of 21st Century, I'm
They
sure.
sang.
They
You
but
didn't
I was
say-
there.
And the guy laughed at you.
Yeah, this guy, I mean.
I know.
That was another installment of the show. Thank you very much for watching.